You are so cute. You are so cute.
Okay. I will try. I will try to read this story without getting too distracted by the kitties. Alright. Farewell, my beloved. The Wanderer Chronicles by Reinkarnitor. Stars illuminated the night, the stellar objects shining coldly on the world below. Two figures could be seen walking through the forest, the trees casting ominous shadows in the moonlight. I always liked going on an evening walk, Ree stated as he twirled his silver cane. But I started liking it even more since you began accompanying me, Gamori. The girl in question looked at him. Her orange eyes didn't betray any emotion. But then, her usually expressionless mouth curled up into a rare smile, and she said, I enjoy it too, Ree. More than you can imagine. The two held each other's hands as they continued down the forest path until they reached a small clearing from which the starry night sky could be seen. Gamori sat down in the grass and Ree followed suit. You know, Ree, ever since I met you, my life has changed in so many ways, Gamori murmured. You give me too much credit. It wasn't just me who helped, you know? But you were the most important one. The one who first reached out his hand to me. The young man blushed and stroked his long silver hair behind his ear. You changed my life as well. In the beginning, I only wanted to help you. I simply saw you as a girl in need of assistance. But now... What now? Gamori asked as she turned her head towards him, looking at him with big, curious eyes. Now I'm feeling more towards you. Much more. The Chaos Goddess shifted around and nudged him from the side. Ree, I feel the same. Could this be love? Ree's eyes went big at the mention of the word. He deliberately tried to sneak around using it, and she just outright said it. I guess you could call it that, Ree said, with a blush spreading on his face. At that, Gamori suddenly grinned, and gently brushed his cheek. You're pretty cute when you lose your composure, you know. She snuggled closer towards him, and he did the same, enjoying the simple moment. It was the first time both of them had ever felt this way. In fact, Gamori, up until recently, couldn't even believe she was capable of feeling this way, let alone have her feelings be reciprocated. She was chaos itself, a foundation of the metaverse. She had been called a monster by many, and yet this guy right next to her never looked at her that way. Ree himself was just as much at a loss for words right now as she was. His entire life, he devoted himself to archaeology and the uncovering of mysteries of the past. When he joined the Wanderers, he did so out of curiosity as well. But then Gamori stepped into his life, and despite knowing who she was and what she was capable of, all he saw standing before the legendary inn that night was a girl who was lost. Gamori, I love you, he finally managed to admit. I love you as well, Ree, she replied with a smile. Suddenly, Gamori looked up, then with one swift motion grabbed Ree and stood up, pulling him to her other side. The next second, a ray of energy hit the spot where they just sat. Whoa, what the heck was that? Ree exclaimed as he regained his composure. Gamori did not answer. Her eyes flared up as she scanned the tree line. I do not know who you are, and I do not know why you attacked us, but I can tell you that you have picked one hell of a bad moment to interrupt. Her voice boomed through the forest. I am Gamori, living chaos, and I can see you. With that, she flicked her wrist, and about 20 hooded figures were dragged out on the clearing by an invisible force. The attackers, however, did not let that disturb them. Instead, they landed steadily on their feet and aimed blasters at the two. Entity designation, Gamori. You are a threat to the order under the Moors. Therefore, you will be disposed of. Their voices called out in unity, cold and hollow, mechanical even. Moors? Ree raised an eyebrow. Who are these guys? Gamori shrugged. Never heard of them. Hey you, You should know that you cannot win this. Leave now, or I will destroy every single one of you. Destruction of one unit is without consequence, the hooded figures answered. Suddenly, dozens more emerged from the tree line. When there are countless more. They all opened fire at the same time. Gamori shoved Ri to the side and tanked the blaster fire like it was nothing, eventually releasing a wave of energy herself, which pulverized the first row of aggressors. Then again, the next had already stepped out on the clearing. But suddenly they changed their strategy, splitting up and distancing themselves from the clearing again. I'll round them all up and then eradicate the entire section of forest they are in from existence, Gamori explained to Ri. Wait, don't you think this could be... She already dashed off. A trap. Crap. Ri wanted to go after her, despite knowing it would take him some time to catch up, when suddenly a single figure blocked his path. Finally, the young man got a better look at one of their attackers. He looked like a man, a hooded cloak covering his entire body. Where the face should be situated sat only a metal mask. Ri could not find a single peek hole in it, making him wonder how the man was able to see at all. I will have to stop you right here, his opponent said calmly. Why are you doing this? Why are you attacking us? We already stated the purpose of our actions at the very beginning of our confrontation. You are of no interest to us. It is her we are after. He gritted his teeth. There's no way you could ever bring harm to her. No, of course not. We are not attempting to harm her. We are attempting to put it in your uncivilized terms, get rid of her. The hooded figure answered in the same unnerving, hollow voice. There's more than one way to win this conflict. Raw violence is of no use against her, that is correct, which is why I have planned something far more advanced. What are you talking about? Ri demanded to know. We will take advantage of a certain weak spot in this forest. We will lure her through. Why are you telling me this? Simple. A blade extended from the man's arm. You will not be able to tell her. With that, he swung his sword at Ri, who barely dodged it before twisting the tip of his cane to unsheath a blade of his own. He parried a few of the man's attacks, but every swing he blocked numbed his arms from the raw strength of the blows. We do not wish for the loss of any lives tonight, the man said. Then stop this at once and let me through! Negative. That would be counterproductive. But I do not have to kill you to stop you. Gamori was flying through the forest at high speed, effortlessly vaporizing every single adversary she came into contact with. If only there weren't so many of them, she thought, annoyed. Finally, she confronted them all at a cliffside. There was no more room to run, but it seemed as if that was not their intent. Instead, they once again aimed their blasters at her. You never learn, do you? She asked them, and charged. Ri was sent flying against one of the trees. The man stood over him, his sword ready to strike again. But then, all of a sudden, he stopped and retracted his blade back into his arm. There is no need for violence anymore. At this point, you cannot interfere, he stated. We are Moors, and you will remember that name. With that, he walked away into the forest. Ri knew it would be pointless to pursue him. Instead, he got up and started running after Gamori. Damn it! I need to hurry. Why can't I have to be speed right now? Gamori had burst through her enemies and been directly caught in the pull of something she did not notice until it was too late. A rift in the air itself continually pulled her in. She could see through the gateway already. The in-between spaces. So this was your plan all along. You will be separated from existence, from the metaverse. The Moors will succeed in your absence. Gamori's expression turned emotionless and cold. What do you hope to accomplish with this? Don't you know that without me, the metaverse will inevitably collapse? Negative. The Moors will guide the metaverse towards an era of unity and order. All will be one. All will be Moors. Gamori looked at them, her orange eyes blazing as she tried to show strength, but the rift's pull was merciless. no matter how long it will take, I will return. And when I do, I will reduce you to nothingness. Your threats are irrelevant. Although we understand you state them in order to not show weakness. We respect your commitment, but it has no effect on us. Gamori sighed, closed her eyes, ready to stop fighting against the gravitational pull, when suddenly a voice rang out. Gamori! She looked up again, seeing Ree running out of the forest. Her expression broke, tears running down her cheeks. Then she smiled and reached out her hand. He did the same and managed to grab hold of her. I will drag you out. Don't worry. I will figure something out. My love, I apologize beforehand for my selfishness. I will take advantage of you being here, she said in a calm voice, and gently brought his face closer to her own. The kiss that followed was gentle, longing, but also sad. Ree lost himself in the moment. A gentle red smoke passed from her over to Ree and merged with him. The young man fell to his knees as a rush of power like never before flowed through him. Let your last memory of me be this good one. It will be painful, and you will suffer. But if I believe in any mortal in all of the metaverse, I believe in you, my love. Be kind, smile, and accept help from our friends. Ree looked up and tried to get back on his feet as he saw Gamori fading away. No, Gamori, I will save you. I will get you back, he exclaimed, his voice shaking. Farewell, my beloved Ree. She vanished. Ree's eyes teared up as she was gone, and he did not even notice the Moors who surrounded him to take him out. But then, his eyes started glowing. He opened his mouth and screamed. Sadness and rage welled up in his voice, and the blazing red of Gamori's chaos reached out from him, extending over the entirety of the forest, the world, and the dimension, consuming it all and leaving behind nothing but emptiness and Ree alone. Throw up those moths and monsters. Cheer for the story if you loved it. Oh, now Bella's sitting on the floor.
Bobo. He stopped purring and he started swishing. I don't know what his issue is. Did you not like that I joined you? What is your issue? What's your problem? Kitty cat? Kitty cat?
Oh, I keep not knowing what the Mickey Mouse hands are. Oh, nice. Cat jump scare when she went across. Oh, Reinkarnitor says my cat always climbs on me no matter what. Sometimes when I'm studying or working, it's annoying enough to place him on the bed again. Aww, that's sweet though. That's the desk. Are we gonna stick with the Christmas emotes permanently? I didn't want to, but I contacted the person who made the wolf emotes. And it was like, hi, like, can I get a commission of, like, the wolf emotes, but non-Christmas version? And she was like, sorry, no, I don't take commissions. And I'm like, but I want my wolf emotes, though. So, I don't know. What do you guys want? I guess on Twitch. On Twitch, I really should at least change them. I guess we do have the wolf emotes, the other wolf emotes. But I like the more detailed wolf with the heart more, so I don't know. I wasn't planning on it, but it might end up being the case. I don't know.
Kitty boo. Kitty boo.
Alrighty, Rue. Well, I definitely enjoyed this story. I thought it was very interesting, very emotional, very touching. I like getting to read about the Wanderer Chronicles in longer form. And like, I honestly hadn't thought about using the events in this way to write a scene from your universe that's like a really important emotional scene that you would not be able to get across properly in 350 words, and using the prompts to get it across in these longer stories that like you're thinking like a winner. Aww. Okay. Well, first of all, Aerith says your performance of re-shouting Gamori was good. I'm glad to hear that. I wanted to put myself into it. And then up above, I see Wolf posts the cute little wolf all snuggled up and goes, "Who didn't tell me about this?" There's a bunch of them. There's also one of a wolf at a computer. There's, there's a ton of the little wolf ones. There's even a wolf in a gas mask. There's a ton of them. Alright. That ad's coming. Reinkarnitor said, "I use this event to narrate a major plot point in my Wanderer Chronicles. I sincerely hope it is enjoyable. 1, I'm terrible at writing about fight scenes and conflict. Let me know what you think of it. 2, I hope the love in this came through. It's meant to be a tragedy. It actually kind of broke my heart to write it. It was in my head so long, and finally writing out, well, let's just say I kind of teared up a bit at the end. 3, overall feedback on the story, and for those who've read the Wanderer Chronicles before, I would love to hear your opinions on this major plot point. So feel free to answer those questions in the chat." Exactly. Wolf and his computer snuggled up, me tabulating cheers. Exactly. Alright, so I did review this one, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna end up either repeating myself or saying less, but either of those things might happen. The ad is coming up. I might have to grab the cat again.
Kitty boy, what are you doing? Hey, what you doing? What are you trying to eat? Cat. Oh, I don't know what to call that, but a little thing. Has the ad arrived?
The tactical cat? It's tactical.
Kiki.
Here, while we're waiting for the ad or during the ad, I will, there it is. And I will give you all the, okay, so those are all the Christmas ones. Oh yeah, the wave one is another one I use a lot. The wave and the heart. And there's the rest of them. I actually don't think this is all of them. I think that I don't think they all got uploaded. But oh yeah, I can show you. I can put it on the screen. Oops, this one. That is sending me the story I requested. But yeah, so top row, all the Christmas wolves. So like, I do really like these wolves, but they're a lot less detailed. Like I really like this guy, this little guy. Look at the little guy. Look at his little face. But yeah, so I guess I could maybe like take out the rest of them, but keep the heart, the high, and the wave maybe. But like even though there's not a wave, like there is a high on this one, and there is. The heart one is pretty good. It's not as detailed, but it is more the most hearts, the most love. I do really like the Pat one. The Pat one is great. And then, yeah, I have the little jumpy one. Orphan is saying no. Does that mean you don't want the Christmas ones to stay? No, thank you. Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. I need more shark emotes, yes. That shark emote is very cute. I mean, like, actually, like, come to think of it, no, I'm just using weird hand emojis for the sake of it. Gotcha. If there are, like, particular emojis that you want, if there's, like, a particular animal you want emojis of, or, like, you know, thought. It could be interesting, because in my searching for emojis and stuff, I did find, like, arcane emojis. That could be kind of fun if I like, bought emojis for the show I'm reacting to, and I had them there in the Discord for while I'm reacting to it, and then when I go on to the next show, I get more. I don't know how expensive those would be, because I bought all the ones that I bought on Black Friday, so I bought them all cheap. But that could be kind of a fun rotation, that instead of, like, holiday stuff, it's just, like, the show stuff. Yeah, the bat stuff's not on Discord. The bat stuff's only on Twitch. Alright.
Kitty. Okay, if you're gonna hack about it, I'll let you out. If you're gonna hack about it. What do you think, Belle? And now Belle goes in the box, and Bo doesn't actually want out. You are a silly Billy.
Alrighty. So, my first thing is a bit of a nitpicky critique. So there's some, I don't know, jumbledness or clunkiness to the stars / the setting description here. So stars illuminated the night, the stellar objects shining coldly on the world below. It does sound a little weird to say stellar objects. Not too weird, but just enough, you know? Especially because you've already called them stars. It feels a little weird to go more general next. Especially right next to it. And so it does kind of read like you didn't want to repeat stars. But the thing is, you could just simply take it out and go, stars illuminated the night, shining coldly on the world below. And that would flow a lot better. This was commented on the document, but then we have, the figures could be seen walking through the forest, the trees casting ominous shadows in the moonlight. So I realized that the reason that moonlight sticks out there is because stars illuminated the night reads like the main source of light, the main thing that's illuminating the scene in general is the stars. And the moon, if it's out, by default, will be brighter than the stars. And so when I read the sentence, stars illuminated the night, it's reading like there is not something brighter to illuminate the night. And so it reads like there isn't a moon out. It's a new moon. And so I think that's why myself and at least one other person found that the moon stood out, is because of that. Is because the stars are the ones illuminating the night. So if the moon is out, well, the moon would be what's illuminating the night. That also would be a quite simple fix. You could just say, you know, the stars shone coldly on the world below, and just take out that they illuminated the night. That would work fine. And then a couple paragraphs down, then we have, they reached a small clearing from which the starry night sky could be seen. So they weren't actually seeing the stars or the moon. And granted, like, maybe it's meant to be third omniscient, and so in which case, yeah, I guess that's fine. But it does seem a little weird to say, ah, yes, the stars, they're shining upon our main characters, illuminating the night. But they can't be seen, though, you know? So, a little bit of clunk to that bit, but that is nitpicky. Like, it overall works fine. I do really like, you know, I do like her not betraying emotion, but then she smiles. I actually realized just on this read that, like, I forget where it was. I'll see if I can find it. But I think it's, like, when she cries or something like that, that I was like, wait a second. Is this the first time she's cried? Or is this extremely rare? Because if so, that makes that so much more impactful. Not that it isn't already. It is. And then I like how, like, he's kind of trying to skirt around it and be like, life is good. Life is good with you in it. I like you, kid. You know, I like you. And then she's like, I think this might be love. and he's like, you know what, you're right. But yeah, I like how he's trying to skirt around it and be a little bit vague about it. I think that's great. I really like this idea of the first who reached out his hand to me, that they have lots of friends, there are lots of people who help or were good to her, but he's the first one who, like, did something active, who, like, actively reached out his hand. It's like, this isn't exactly accurate, but it's kind of the image of, like, what did I have? I mean, this image is too strong, but it's something like, there's somebody in quicksand, falling in quicksand, and a bunch of people are like, oh no, like, I want to help, I care, do this, do that, and then one person actually reaches out their hand to like, help them out of the quicksand, and it's like, even if the other people genuinely meant well, and, like, are genuinely helping when you get out, like, he's the one who actually did something. He's the one who actually reached his hand out, you know. I don't know that she would compare her life before to falling in quicksand, so I think that's too strong of an image, but I really like that idea of, like, action. It kind of reminds me of Greg's story from last week, or the week before, depending on how you calculate it. And then I'm curious if the Moor thing was also a reference to the Moors, and that's really cool if so. Speaking of subtext. I feel like, and are there any newcomers to the Wanderer Chronicles in the chat? And if so, did this feel like it came out of nowhere? Because this works fine for me because I know who Gamori is, what Gamori is. But I do feel like for newcomers it might have been better to throw that descriptor what is that? The scripture of descriptions. The descriptor. But for newcomers, it might have been good to introduce her that way, or introduce it a little bit earlier. Like I said, I like this. I like that Ria's kind of, like, being cute about it, being like, I guess you could call it that, you know? But he's like, that's absolutely what it is. But he's like, yeah, I guess. And then the blush just adds to it. And then I love that she likes him when he's chaotic, that when he loses his composure. She likes that. That's great. I just looked over at the not so private chat for a second, and I saw the bottom row of Wolfies, and the wolf in his suit is just like, what a distinguished gentleman vibes. I should find some way to, like, use these other Wolfies in, like, the tags for our weekly stuff so I can get more used to them. I really like Gamori up until recently couldn't believe she was capable of feeling this way, let alone having her feelings reciprocated. That's very cool. It's always a neat thing to know that you're in love and somebody else loves you, but it's especially impactful when she's never felt this way and didn't even think she could. Absolutely love this line. This might be my favorite line. That, despite knowing who she was and what she was capable of, all he saw standing over the legendary inn that night was a girl who was lost. That's very cool. And then I like that they admit it there. I did say this in my review, my comments, but I did want to expand upon it a little bit. I feel like this scene break really does the story a disservice because, as far as I know, this is the same exact scene. And so when I see this scene break, I'm going, okay, take a pause. We're at least a couple hours later, if not days, months, weeks, years later. If not, we're going to be with a different set of characters after the break. So, like, okay, pause, take a minute, new scene. And then it's the same scene. Hello, Lauren Zoda Boss. 2010. Hello. Welcome. We are a writing group, and this is a little bit of an unorthodox stream, but I'm reading some stories submitted by the community. People wrote for our Valentine's event. So yeah, the scene break makes me, okay, pause, new scene, and then it's the same scene. But not only is it the same scene, something suddenly is happening in the scene. And so, like, if you just had it right next to it, and it's like, Gamori, I love you, he finally managed to admit. I love you as well, Ree, she replied with a smile. Suddenly, Gamori looked up. With one swift motion, grabbed Ree and stood up, pulling him to her other side. The next second, a ray of energy hit the spot where they just sat. Whoa, what the heck was that? Ree exclaimed as he regained his composure. Yeah, like that. Now that flows. That's dramatic. That's interesting. We're like, whoa, what happened? Rather than, having a break and going like, okay, pause, new scene, and then, wait a second, it's the same scene. No, this is literally like what's happening, like a second later. So like the surprise that you want and need is lost because of the scene break. I love her little speech here. I think that's great. And like I said, I love that I can see you, like, as a threatening thing. Like, it's so simple but so threatening. I tried to read the Moors as a little less robotic this time, but I don't know if I got to what I needed to get to. And it all, as I said, it is interesting that she's never heard of them, despite being like a foundation of the metaverse itself. And then makes a lot of sense that they, like, I like that their name is the Moors, presumably because there's always countless more. And I think that's a neat name for a Borg, Cyberman type hive mind, sort of thing. Or it's like, yeah, we don't care if one is destroyed. There's always more. That's who we are. We're the Moors, Let's see. So, I don't know if I'm just viewing the scene wrong. But it seems like shoving Ree to the side would not be a good plan. Because I'm kind of imagining that, like, they're, covering the whole side of the forest. There's tons of them. And they're all firing. And, like, sure, maybe they're all pointing at Gamori, but they're not going to be, like, 100% accurate. Like, some are going to stray over here. Or, if there's just, like, a line of them, and then they're all firing straight, they might just all be getting, a swath of the forest. And so either way, shoving Ree to the side feels like it's more likely that they're gonna get hit. Cause, like, she's kind of little, right? And so it feels like they're not gonna be totally accurate in all of them completely hitting her and hitting nothing to the side. So I kind of feel like her bringing him behind her or shoving him to the ground would be a bit more of a helpful thing to do. I'm also curious why they open fire at her. I'm gonna ask about this a couple of times, but they do say they're not really into baseless violence. They don't want to kill anybody. So I'm curious why they don't like talk to her or something and go like, "You're gonna come with us," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And they find some way to like start moving while she's like attacking them or something like that. Oh yeah, I am wondering why she didn't do this. So she says, "I'll round them all up and then eradicate the entire section of forest they're in from existence." I'm guessing the reason she didn't is because she didn't manage to round them all up. But it does feel like just like, all right, chaos blast, you know, blasting the entire section of forest. Like, okay, get behind me, Ree. He does, and then brrr, you know, she lasers down the whole forest. Feels like a better plan here. Like that feels like that actually would have saved her. And especially because she presents it as what she wants to do. Why doesn't she? And I do like that Ree recognizes it could be a trap, but, you know, it doesn't, isn't able to tell her. It is kind of fun and funny that there's so many of them. But they only said one. After Ree, they're like, no, he's a dinky little human. Just that one guy needs to go after him. There is kind of an element here with this scene that he says you're of no interest to us. And, yeah, how to explain? He says he's of no interest to them. But if that was really true, like, granted, I did just say, oh yeah, one guy. Well, there are like thousands of them. But if he's truly of no interest to them, why would they send anybody after him? Like, why does he matter? You know? Because, like, well, I guess I'll go down to the other thing, because it's hard to talk about this without talking about this thing. Because another thing that happens here in this conversation is that Rhea's like, why are you telling me this? Simple. A blade extended from the man's arm. You will not be able to tell her. That is explicit intent to kill. I do not know how to interpret that in any way besides, I am going to kill you now. You will not be able to tell her because you will be dead from this blade I have in my arm, you know? That even one of these things, like even just the blade or just you will not be able to tell her already would seem like intent to kill, but putting them together is like explicit, no room for doubt, intent to kill. And so it seems very strange that he then says, we don't wish for the loss of any lives tonight. I don't have to kill you to stop you. Well, I get that, sure, he could horribly maim him with that blade. Sure, distracting him means that he won't be able to tell her. But the way that that's described, and the fact that we don't have clarity ahead of time, doesn't make it clear that it's like, I'm going to distract you by fighting you. Or I am going to make you unable to tell her by hurting you badly. It very much reads as, you will be dead, so you won't be able to tell her. So I do think that either A, toning down what he does there, or having him explain a little bit more. B, just not having him do that, period. C, not having him say, we don't want to kill you. Or maybe D, putting the we don't want to kill you earlier. Or some combination of any of those things could be quite helpful. And so, what was I going to come back to? Oh yeah, and so then that makes it seem extra strange that he's like, you're of no interest to us. And then he's like, acts like, I'm going to kill you, and then is like, I don't want to kill you, you know? It kind of feels like either just leaving him, because it's like, we don't care, what does he matter, would make more sense with their plan, or kidnapping him might have worked better. It kind of goes along with what I was expecting, but in a different way. I feel like kidnapping him could have really worked well because, like, it would mean that wherever they drag him to, well, Gamori clearly cares about him. And so they could use him as bait to draw her to where the rift is. And then you wouldn't have this issue of, like, do they want to kill him? Do they not want to kill him? It would just be like, oh, the only interest we have in you is using you as bait. And you're doing great at that, you know? And they wouldn't be trying to kill him or anything like that. And not only that, like, I think, well, I should say this now. I think maybe I'll wait to talk about that, but put a pin in that. And this scene, like, I didn't really notice it the first time I read it, but the more I read it, the more there's kind of an element to this scene that kind of feels like it's there to give us exposition. It's there for the Moors to tell you know, what their plan is. And so if instead he was kidnapped, I think that it would have less of that vibe, because it's like, well, he's sitting there tied up. We don't have much to do but tell him our plan. You know, that rather than like, I will stop you, but kill you, but not kill you, and exposit. You know, that kind of thing. You want out, kitty?
Go on. Don't turn around. In or out.
And that's not to say that what he's saying is uninteresting. Like I said, I didn't notice it the first time I read it because I was genuinely interested in that exposition and stuff like that, and curious what was going on. And I do like the continuation, despite the confusion on the killing thing, I do like the continuation of what we saw in the previous story about them. It is interesting about you'll remember the name, because I think he will. I think he might be going on a revenge quest after this. I do really like the, like, damn it, I need to hurry. Why can't I have to be speedy right now? I do quite like that, though my critique for it would be Tippy is not mentioned anywhere else in the story. She's not explained or introduced in the story, and because these stories, including these ones, including the holiday ones, are meant to stand alone, I do feel like not mentioning another character by name would be better, because I think for newcomers it's just kind of like, who's Tippy? And so, who's Tippy and why is she speedy, you know? And so I think just saying, like, damn it, I need to hurry, I think would be a little punchier for newcomers. I did talk about this a lot in my review, but hey, I'll check in and see if the chat agrees with this critique or not. But this paragraph here made me feel as though the main climax of the fight between Gamori and the Moors happened off screen. So Gamori had burst through her enemies and been directly caught in the pull of something. She did not notice until it was too late. A rift in the air itself continually pulled her in. She could not see through the gateway already. She could see through the gateway already. And so that doesn't read like we're seeing in real time, like her, you know, bursting through the enemies and like she's going and then, wait, why can't I keep moving? Like, what's happening? She looks up and she sees the rift. It's pulling her in. Oh no, the in-between spaces. You know, we don't see that. It's just, it reads like, okay, like we have the fight with Reed. We have the fight with Gamori. Ooh, back and forth. Okay, and Gamori is caught. You know, it feels like we're going between them. We see them fighting, and then suddenly we cut to Gamori being caught, and we didn't see how she got caught. And like that's the most important part of the fight. So I was a little disappointed in that. I do like the name of the in-between spaces. I think that's a great name. I think I'll come back to this. I do like the whole bit about, she's like, hey, I'm a foundation of the metaverse. If you get rid of me, the metaverse will collapse. Oh, you want out?
Oh, yeah? Kitties.
But the Moors are so obsessed with order that they think that chaos is an inherently bad thing. And so they think, well, if we remove chaos, then, like, our plans can come to fruition. It's like, no. What do you mean the metaverse would collapse? Would collapse? Order is the best. Like, we are the best. We will be everything. We will be all. You will be a Moor. That plant will be a Moor. That cat will be a Moor. All will be Moors, and everything will be great. And they don't even see, like, their plan sucks, you know. Your dream stinks. I was talking to her, you know. So I do like that, you know, clearly their plan is extremely flawed, and that's gonna collapse the metaverse, but I can also totally understand why they don't realize that, why they think that, you know, their plan is great and they're gonna succeed, you know. I also think it's funny that they're like, I see that you want to remain strong at the end. That's good commitment. Don't care though, you know? I do love the image of her being like, oh, like, this sucks, but kind of, like, resigned to, well, maybe she's not resigned, because she's saying she'll return, but she's like, oh, like, stoically, like, she's stoic about it. And then, you know, she hears Ree come running and call out to her, and she's like, oh no, the emotions. Like, oh no, I don't think I can remain stoic anymore. I'm not okay anymore. I think that's very powerful, especially because she is described as this emotionless character. So I do have some, like, technical questions in this section, which is that you say, you know, down at the end, the Moors who surrounded him to take him out. Well, presumably, like, there's so many of the Moors, presumably they're surrounding Gamori, right? Or there's a lot of them near where she is. And so I'm not really understanding how Ree is able to get to her. Like, not only get close, but get all the way to her without a single Moor being described as even attempting to attack. Because as far as I know, he doesn't have super speed. Not yet, at least. And so, yeah, so I'm wondering why the Moors, like, wait for them to have their moment before, they go after him. And then, you know, I am not sure how Ree is able to get into the pole that Gamori, get in and out of the pole that Gamori can't escape. Like, she is the goddess of chaos. She's super powerful. So whatever is pulling her is more powerful than her. Like, that's crazy powerful. And so it seems odd that Ree is able to just go straight to her, like, get to her, touch her, and get back out. And is able to get back out. And I don't know why he can't drag her out. Because, like, if he himself can get in and out of the pool, surely he could, like, grab her hand and pull her out of it, right? So, a little unsure about those, like, technical aspects and stuff. Oh, and what I was gonna say, of taking the pin out, if Ree was kidnapped, this could make a little more sense because he would already be there. That he's there, and then they capture her because he was bait, and then he managed to like, break away from his aggressors, and is like, I have to get to her. And he gets to her, and stuff like that. Then that would make more sense. It's like, yeah, the Moors had captured him. He just, like, in a burst of passion was able to escape and get to her rather than him running and no Moors attacking him, you know. The kiss is really beautiful. I like that. And I like that it seemingly is what allows her to transfer her power to him. So it's not just, I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but her transferring her power to him is super cool already. But lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, but if it is the kiss itself that transferred the power, that is extra cool because it's kind of this element of it was their love. It was the fact that Gamori, who thought she couldn't love someone, fell in love with someone that allowed her to remain, that allowed her to give her power to someone else, and ultimately a part of her remain in the metaverse. That's very cool. I like the image of the red smoke. I think that's great. I'm curious. I like the line. I think it's very touching that she is like, let this last memory of me be this good one. It definitely tugged on my heartstrings the first time I read it. But the more I think about it, I'm not really sure what she means. Because this ain't a good memory. This is a bad time. The kiss was probably good. But this overall memory, it's not a good memory. So I'm curious what she means by that. And then it does, from what I know about Gamori, it seems to make sense that she would kind of matter-of-factly be like, yeah, it's gonna be painful and you are gonna suffer. That reminded me of something. I couldn't figure out what it was. I think I know now. It's Ron's prediction of Harry that, like, you're gonna suffer, but you're gonna be happy about it, you know? But, and then I love, you know, if I believe in any mortal in all of the metaverse, I believe in you. We kind smile, accept help from our friends. Fantastic. I love that little speech there that, like, hey, this is going to be really hard, I know, but I believe in you. You're going to get through this, and please ask for help for our friends. Like, don't try to carry this all on your own. Really beautiful thing. Well, I'll save that. And I will have a lot to talk about with the dimension stuff, but I do just, like, first and foremost really like that idea of the fact that he's so broken and emotional that he just, like, unleashes this power and it destroys, you know, the dimension and stuff like that. I think that is a very powerful and intense and cool image to end the story out on. And I do like, you know, the single word paragraph there alone, very powerful. So some, like, bigger picture stuff here at the end. Let's see. Oh yeah. So one bigger question is, how can they separate her from the metaverse? So as far as I know, the metaverse is a multiverse. It's multiple universes. But if we think about it like a ball pit, that we have the ball pit, and the universes are all balls. Well, the space in between the balls is still inside the ball pit. And so how could it be that, like, oh yeah, all the balls, that's the metaverse, but not, that's the ball pit, but not the spaces in between them, you know? And like, I don't know how to describe it, but there's, like, kind of a trippy aspect of, like, the metaverse, as far as I know, in your written universe, is everything. It is all of existence in your universe, in this multiverse. It's existence itself. And so how can anything exist outside of the metaverse? It's kind of like anything that is existence is the metaverse. And so if something exists, how can it not be the metaverse? And because, like, you might say, oh, well, this in between spaces, well, they're a different universe. Well, the metaverse is a multiverse. The metaverse is full of universes. So how is it that all the other universes are part of the metaverse, but this one universe or this one place, this one space that's not, you know, how does that work? I just saw you chat there. That doesn't answer this question for me. I already read it multiple times, that I still have this question. I don't know, like, if other people have the question or other people feel like they understand Reinkarnitor's answer, go ahead and say so in the chat. And then where was it? I talked about that one. Oh yeah. The Wanderer is also like on the edge of the metaverse. That like, you know, I might not be remembering perfectly, but you were saying like we have the metaverse, we have the universes, we have the in-between spaces, and we have the edge. And the edge is where the Wanderer is. That the Wanderer was created from a concept out there. So if the Wanderer can go anywhere, why can't the Wanderer save her? Why can't the Wanderer come and, you know, get her inside of it and then leave? It kind of reminds me of the TARDIS at the end of the Blink episode, that they're, you know, I guess spoilers, but they're gonna get attacked. And right as like hope is lost, they're getting attacked, the TARDIS shows up right there. You know, I feel like that's something seemingly that could happen, that it could. I don't know if the Wanderer would get pulled in too, but that goes back to my question with Ree, that if Ree didn't get pulled in and he was fine, well, couldn't the Wanderer zoom in and zoom out and be fine? And then I think you said something about like using the in-between spaces to travel and stuff like that, which is really interesting. I do like that. It reminds me of I mean, I could probably grab it to show you, but in Vanitas no Carte, between the vampire world and the human world, there is a space between. And, like, they have, you know, transit stations kind of stationed there. But you should not get stuck there, because if you are stuck in that space in between, you're stuck there forever. You can't go to either world. Though I think there's weirdness to that. I think that's not entirely true, but I think that's kind of how it was introduced. It reminds me of that. But the thing is that, like, that is not introduced as, like, yes, we, like, existence is, well, yeah, I don't have an issue with the concept. I don't have an issue with the concept of spaces in between worlds, that you getting stuck in spaces between worlds. I actually really like that idea. I think that's really interesting and cool. My issue with it is saying that it's not a part of the metaverse. Is saying that that the spaces in between aren't. And like, I don't know how to compare it to Vanitas no Carte, because in Vanitas, they don't really, at least in what I've read so far, they aren't really introducing like, oh yes, this is a multiverse, and like Altus and the human world are all part of it, but the in-between spaces aren't, you know. They don't really talk about it like that. They're just like, there's this world, and there's that world, and there's the in-between, you know? But there's something I want to ask about Gamora. Oh, I wanted to ask if she's gone forever. Because she says, like, no matter how long it will take, I will return. I believe her. Like, she's the chaos goddess. She's chaos itself. She's super powerful. I totally believe that she could return. And so, if you intended to be like, nope, she's gone forever, she can never come back, I'm not sure I understand why. Or at least I feel like saying I will return maybe didn't really do you a favor there, because I was like, yeah, totally. Like, we'll find some way to get her. I was totally thinking, like, the quest going forward would be to get her back. So if that's not the intention, that I do feel like having her more of, like, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but having her be more like, I want to stay strong, but crap, I'm dead. You know, like, crap, I can't return from this. Oh no, you know, would make it a little bit clearer. And then to talk about the ending here. So this is what you're talking about mostly in both your reply on the doc and your reply in the events chat and stuff, so I really wanted to discuss it. So you're expressing some frustration that you said you have described this before, that in other Wanderer stories you've always called them like dimensions or realities, and it's never all of reality. So you're kind of frustrated that it seemed like myself and other commenters were confused about that and stuff like that. And so the first thing to say is you need to remember that these stories stand alone. So, or they're supposed to stand alone. And so you can't rely on, well, I explained it in this other story, why are you confused? You know, well, this might be the only story, only Wanderer story that somebody reads. And so you got to treat it like that, and I will always be critiquing the stories based on that. And even if somebody has read your other Wanderer stories, well, not everybody has read all of them. And so you can't rely on, well, I explained it in this other one, so, you know, why is this a problem? Because, well, maybe you explained it super well in one story, but maybe I've read 3 stories plus this one, and none of them were that story, you know, that kind of thing. So that's the first thing to remember, is you can never rely on people having read the other ones. And I feel like there's two potential reactions to what happened here at the end. So I'm going to talk about my reaction first. So I genuinely was confused on if he did destroy everything. And a large part of why is because you say that there is nothing. you say that there is nothing but emptiness and alone. And if this is a multiverse, if he only destroyed one universe in a multiverse, well, it wouldn't be nothing. There would be other universes. It wouldn't leave behind nothing. It would leave behind, like, a dark space or a hole, and way off in the distance, there's another universe. You know, it wouldn't be nothingness. I also either have not read the stories where you referred to them as dimensions, or I forgot. Because dimension to me, like, could mean a universe and a multiverse, or it could mean, oh yeah, universes are the universe, but the dimension is the metaverse as a whole. So that word to me could go either way, and so I was like, well, there's nothing. Rhea is alone. There's not even another universe out there. Okay, he destroyed the dimension, and so I did get the impression that he really did destroy literally everything. And I do get to that, like, in some way describing, oh yeah, there's another universe over there. That would take away from the end. That would make the end less powerful. But because this is causing you a lot of frustration, I do feel like a different description that's not so final, and so, like, there is nothing left, that definitely would have benefited me. I don't know for sure, but even if you said something like leaving behind a hole where that universe used to be, you know, a hole where that dimension used to be, and alone, I think that could have helped. I would have gone, oh, okay, so, like, it's a hole where that universe was, but it's not everything, you know, destroyed. And that could be pretty powerful, actually. I actually like that. I like that description of a hole where that universe used to be. So on the one hand, that's one potential reaction to this, that I had the reaction of, like, okay, I thought he really did destroy everything. Another potential reaction that I was discussing with a friend is that I think other people, I know at least one other person, actually understood, no, he just destroyed one universe. There's still a multiverse, the multiverse is still intact, it's only one universe he destroyed. But the thing is, and I agree, a universe is still huge. It's still a lot. It's kind of like saying about Meikokam's story about the Scouring. Well, Jonathan only destroyed 3 cities. Like, there's still a whole world out there. There's a bunch more. It's like, well, he destroyed 3 cities. Like, that's still a big deal. That still is a, you know, world-altering event. And so, like, he still destroyed an entire universe. Like, that is still because what we were saying, the comment that Rink was replying to was us saying, well, that escalated quickly. And so destroying a whole universe is still escalating quickly. It's still a lot to be destroyed in a mere moment. Now, like, granted, especially having read it multiple times, like, it's not a bad image at all. It is a cool and powerful image that he doesn't know how to use this power. He's super emotional. He destroys everything. Like, there is definitely power there. But especially in my first read, because I was not at all expecting that, because I was like, oh yeah, he's got a new power-up, and I was kind of thinking it might end on him, like, you know, lifting his eyes, and they're glowing orange, and you know, like, oh, they're about to get wrecked, or something like that. But instead of getting, like, a slow build-up, or just showing that it has new powers now, instead just going, well, he got the powers, the universe is destroyed now. You know, that is quite an escalation. It's not necessarily, like, bad or inaccurate to what's going on. It just is very, like, it definitely threw me the first time I read it. And so, it's still a big thing that he just did. And the other thing is, I was asking in one of my comments, I was like, well, it's gonna be hard for him to, like, do what Gamori said and go get help from his friends if his friends are dead. And, like, granted, yes, I did have that problem of thinking that he destroyed everything.
Oh, kitty.
But even if he did not destroy everything, he only destroyed this universe. The thing is that, sure, the friends were not explicitly stated to be in this universe, but the friends also weren't explicitly stated not to be in this universe. And you'd kind of assume that your friends are going to be close. And, like, you know, I don't know that I've read enough stories in this universe, but, like, I would kind of assume that my friends would be in the same universe as me. And so there is still, like, you said his friends are fine, but there is still, like, you know, without you telling me that possibility, even if I understood properly just a universe, I still might think, well, are his friends okay? Like, are they dead? You know, kind of thing. And granted, like, I know that the Wanderer is kind of his home base, and so I could get that, okay, the Wanderer can get out alive. You know, they can get out alive because they're in the Wanderer kind of thing. But none of it's stated explicitly, and so the question, you know, lingers. Let's see. The other question about this section is, so, like, if we go back to the image, right, we have a ball pit, and the universes are the balls, and the in-between spaces are in between the balls. Well, if a ball gets destroyed, and, you know, then presumably where you would be is in the in-between spaces. So, I'm wondering why he's alone. I'm wondering why, once he destroys that universe, why is he not now in the in-between spaces where Gamori is? So definitely curious about that. I see a lot of chat in the chat, so let's see what's going on. Yeah, that could work. Ring says, until Ryu was floating in the empty space where the dimension once had been. In the distance, the next dimension was barely visible, but Ryu paid it no mind, being lost in this moment of sadness alone. That definitely works. I still personally like the hole where a universe used to be image a little bit more, because that there is a telliness to that. But that would work, and that would clear things out. Let's go over here. Why did you change color? Rank says, I should have written something in between them sitting there, making it clear the scene break wasn't necessary. I agree. Well, she's incredibly powerful and ancient, but not all-knowing. Only the source code, her creator, is all-knowing. Interesting. I'm especially curious that the source code is not the name that you gave in the events chat, I think, that of like, oh yeah, this character will create a new universe. That's very curious. Moors is Latin. Latin for what? When Gamori shoves you, you fly 50 meters. That makes sense, but that does need to be explicitly stated, because I will not assume, especially because, like, they're interacting like normal people at the beginning, I will not assume anytime she shoves any person ever, always it will be 50 meters, you know? And so I do think that explicitly stating, like, she shoved him and he went flying, you know, would be very helpful. I don't know what you're replying to lure her away and towards the weak spot in reality. Also don't know what you reacted to of simple answer, there were too many. Chaos control, final flash. And seeing with Ree against that specific Moor is actually a foreshadowing. I won't tell for what though. Sounds like there will be a showdown with Ree going after that specific Moor. I also didn't comment on it, but I was thinking, I was like, that Moor says I. And so I assumed that Moor was the one from the story I read a while ago that had the plan. And so, interesting that in a hive mind, there is a specific one. There's a specific one that's standing out. Kind of goes against your whole concept, doesn't it, Moors? He has no physical threat to them, but he could talk sense into Gamori. Why they didn't attack him? They want him to talk sense into Gamori? Why is that? Isn't this nice, dear? It's just you, me, and this deadly weapon. I mean, it's not explicit intent to kill. It's simply a logical statement. He will be held back, and the Moors knows that Gamori will be gone soon enough. And yeah, you just said so yourself, distraction. I mean, no opponent would ever say, hey, I'm just distracting you. He wanted Reed to believe that he would harm him, at least. Well, I think the issue is that, please, chat, do answer if I'm wrong, but I highly doubt that a single person would read the line, brings out blade, you will not be able to tell her, as anything but intent to kill. Like, that's the problem, is that line reads by default as intent to kill. And so if you meant it as anything other than that, the line would need to be different, if that makes sense. Like, I totally get what the Moors are doing, that they just are distracting him. Again, I don't know exactly why he needs to be distracted if he's no interest to them, if he's not important. But yeah, like, I get that that's their plan, that's what they need to do. It's just that line is a bit confusing, because I can't read it as anything but that, you know? There's a difference between I don't want to kill you and I won't kill you. Well, there is, you're right, but pulling out a blade, saying you're not going to be able to tell her, and then saying, oh, we don't wish for any loss of lives tonight. I don't have to kill you to stop you. Like, it just sends mixed signals to the audience. It's, like, I get that it's like, I don't want to kill you, but I will. But the I don't want to didn't come first. The I will came first. And so it's basically him saying, I will kill you, but I don't want to. Like, that's making it sound better. That's making it sound better when I phrase it like that. But, I guess, like, this isn't exactly how you wrote it, but I guess it does read as, I will kill you, but I won't kill you. I guess that's the problem, is that isn't exactly what it says, but that is, I think, how the issue with how it ends up reading. If that makes sense. Yeah, you could say, man, I wish I was faster. Yeah, that could work. That was the entire thought. She burst straight through them and into the rift. In my mind, that was happening while it was being read. Sorry for making that unclear. Okay, let's go find that. Oh, so I think it's a lot to do with this. I think it's a lot to do with the pluperfect. That the whole story is told in past, right? Let's see. Yeah, the man stood over him, stuff like that. Yeah, so the story's told in past. But you're saying she had been, which means the past of the past. So that means this happened in the past, not right now. So I think if you said, Gamori burst through enemies and was directly caught in the pull, I don't know that I would have had that problem. It's just that you said she had been, as in this happened in the past, this happened off screen, if that makes sense. Gamori she's so strong, so fast, I can't drag out a scene where she literally dashes through them. I would just repeat what I wrote earlier. Okay, she vaporized them again. Are you talking about, like, what's going on here kind of thing? I guess that really is a plot point. I didn't think that one straight through. About rerunning through the trees. Also, Ree was not in the pool. She kissed him. Her head was still out of the portal. The only reason why she was getting in the pool was because she touched the portal. He didn't. He just got touched by her head. Her hand was just not yet in the portal. So since he did not touch the portal, he cannot be pulled in. But he also can't pull her out because nothing can escape the pull, not even if an outside force were to try drag. That's very intricate and specific and definitely needs to be described. If it's like, oh, but her hand wasn't in and her head wasn't in. Very unclear. I was very much imagining, like, Cow being pulled into the UFO beam. Like, she is completely covered in the beam. I was not at all imagining, well, her head's still out and her hand's still out, but the rest of her is in, And if that is that crucial, like, that is very crucial to explain why, he wouldn't get pulled in, that needs to be directly stated, because I would absolutely not guess that her hand wasn't out, her head wasn't out. I totally thought her whole body was caught in the whole thing. So, yeah, that needs to be specified. There's an ad coming. I'll come to it after the ad.
Just kidding. Oh, come on, ad. Where are you, ad?
Damn it, that hat is in the way. Let's get rid of it. Ah!
Is she kitty? Oh, we can do the camera so we can see the kitty. Oh, she purring.
You wanna do a story? Let's start with fire.
You just cute little kitty. Little puffball, yes.
You said burns, but you put a slash, so I assume the slash means it was sarcastic. If you want more ways to think of it, I actually just got it from the GIF over here that's, I'm firing my laser! No. What is the no to? Oh, just Butterfingers. Okay. Fire burns. Fire burns brightly. Fire burns brightly for the... Oh, I have an idea. I want to add one word. Fire burns brightly for the coldest. For the coldest ones who... Her fire burns brightly for the coldest ones whose hearts will ignore ones. Oh, okay. Fire burns brightly for the coldest hearts. I guess we can still do who. The coldest hearts who.
Oh, is that over? I think that is over.
Who shiver. Feels incomplete. Fire burns brightly for the coldest hearts who shiver. Okay, going back to the chat. The kiss kind of also served for him to lose focus, so he would let go and not be dragged into the point where he also gets caught in the bowl. Well, that seems to contradict what you were just saying, because you were saying that, like, as long as no body part is caught in the pole, then you're fine. And even the body parts that are not in the pole are okay until you're fully, submerged. And so it doesn't feel like he needs to be distracted in order to get pulled in. In fact, it seems like the less focused he is, the more likely he would be to get pulled in. He could kiss her deeply and put his hand around her head, and then now his hand's in the pole or something like that. She meant the kiss, no deeper meaning. I'm trying to figure out how could you describe that, because I get what you're going for there, but memory is so much bigger than just the kiss. So I'm trying to think of how you could rework that to do the good parts of it and leave off the critique, I guess if you just said, let your last memory of me be this kiss, actually that could work. Yeah, the Wanderer, the in-between spaces are in between the metaverse. It's not within the metaverse. The Wanderer cannot reach the in-between spaces. Yeah, I'm just not getting that. I'm just not getting how. I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like the ball pit scenario is the best explanation I can give. But it's like the metaverse either is all of existence in the universe that you wrote, the series that you wrote, or it's not. And there's other forms of existence. And you've kind of made it extra confusing because the metaverse is a multiverse. And so it's like there's multiple... The metaverse is a multiverse with multiple universes, realities, and dimensions in it. But it's not all of existence. But out here, there's another form of existence that's not the metaverse. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that can be. That the metaverse is existence itself. And yet there's this other existence over here that's not the metaverse. I don't know how that works. The Wanderer also doesn't just appear anywhere. It appears randomly when people are in need. It doesn't appear in front of every single person who needs help. That is fair, but doesn't the Wanderer specifically know and like Gamori? And doesn't Gamori specifically need help right now? So, sure, it won't appear to every person who needs help,
but like we saw it appear to, you know, Death's Head's Night characters out in the woods. They're in need at the same time that Gamori is in need, I feel like Gamori takes precedence, you know? Like, somebody being lost in the woods can wait for the Wanderer to go grab Gamori. I imagine the metaverse as a cheese with holes. The holes are the in-between spaces, I guess. That's the best metaphor that I can come up with right now. The cheese has an end as well. The cheese is not all of existence. English says, then what's at the end of the cheese, yeah? Okay, like, that does help me understand better. I guess my problem is that, the thing about a piece of cheese with holes is that there's nothing in the holes. Like, this is nothing, right? This is not cheese. This is not anything. It's a hole. But in this case, you have cheese, and the holes are something. They're a thing. They're not nothing. They're a place where you can go. And so, well, we'll come back to that. So that's my issue. And like like I said, it all comes back to, okay, if this cheese is everything that exists, it makes sense that the holes are a thing that doesn't exist. Therefore, they're not part of the metaverse. The problem is that they exist. You know, the problem is that they're not nothing. Like, I don't know if that's making sense. Nothingness outside the cheese. The source code didn't plan to fill in all of existence with the metaverse. It's like a passion project to just watch and evolve. Okay, so that is answering that yes, the metaverse is a part of existence, but there's another part of existence that's not the metaverse. Okay, so now help me understand how the metaverse is a multiverse with many universes, but there's other universes or there's other existence over here that's not part of the metaverse. How does that work? I wouldn't call it frustrated. I'm more like at the end of how to describe it so I can make it sensible to everyone who reads it in that moment. How can I do that? I totally understand that not all can read, so my question isn't why this is a problem, but how can I solve this problem? That makes sense. That's fair. That's actually smart. Like I will do it now, like that now. What I'm curious what specifically I was referring to, unless you're referring to what you said in the stream chat. Coolish, that's a good point. Who's to say there's not another cheese? Wait. So there's a multiverse, and then there's another multiverse. So, but then that goes back to the question: why are they not part of the same multiverse? Like, why do they need to be separated? Okay, yeah. So that was the stream chat thing. He did take a big bite of that of the cheese. Good question. I think about the falling into the in-between spaces. I need to rework the concept of destroying universes. Fair. Nice. This is something I've wanted to play with, is that hive minds in nature don't work like how they're always depicted. I understand the Blade misunderstanding. I should have written it way differently. That's fair. Desta says, yeah, I have to second that. It seems like intent to kill. Yulish says, either killing or maiming. At the very least, your tongue will no longer be in your mouth. That's fair. Mika says, I think if he only wants to hold him back and not intend to kill, the blade could come out only after he tries to get past him. Yeah, that's a great idea. Just have him, like, kind of stand his ground and be like, yeah, I'm gonna stop you. And then tries to get past him. And he's like, no. Not having that. Ghoulish says, if a person pulls a sword and says, I'm not going to kill you, and means it, that's going to be much more gruesome. That's finger chopping behavior. That's fair. That is fair. Vega says, it feels weird for her power to be able to destroy an entire dimension, or even the entire forest, but that there can't still be too many. Or they can still be too many? Oh, is that the answer that I was asking? Why doesn't she just destroy the whole forest? And then you said, so your answer was because there's too many? Yeah, I don't understand that. Because, like, a fraction of her power, unless she gave all of it, but a fraction of her power inside of Ree destroyed the entire dimension. Like, you can't argue, oh, there's too many of them for her to destroy, if her power a second later will not only destroy all of them, but the entire universe with it. Yet again, another instance of me not understanding that my thoughts are not the reader's thoughts. And here I said I would try to get better at that. Sorry, my bad, totally. That's fair. And, like, it's a process, right? Like, if this is something that you struggle with, like, it's totally fine to be like, oh, I said I would get better than that, but, like, still make mistakes. Like, it's a process. You're not going to learn overnight and suddenly be perfect at it. Like, you don't have to apologize or anything. Well, if she's pulled in and he holds her, he'll sooner or later be dragged into the pool. But anyway. Wait, what are you answering? Because, like, you're saying that she's kissing him to distract him so he's not in the pool. But you're also saying that if he holds her, he will be in the pool. And isn't that what he's doing? Like, by kissing her? I don't know. The metaverse is not existence itself. I specifically said it wasn't. Where did you say that? The Wanderer's not specifically able to notice anyone in the vastness of the metaverse. It can sense and talk to the ones at its physical location. The whole appears thing is more like ancient magic. Gotcha. The cheese is not all that exists. There are... Wait. The cheese... So, wait, you're contradicting yourself. You're saying the cheese is not all that exists, so the metaverse is not all of existence. And then you say there are no other existences. So then the metaverse is all that exists. I think that feeble human minds cannot understand the vastness of this weird-ass concept I made. And too many to round up. That's fair regarding how she's saying, like, I'm gonna round him up, and then she can't round him up. So, like, I can kind of understand that, but my point still stands of, like, I guess part of my point was, why do you need to round him up? Just blast. Just get Ree behind you, get the people you want to save behind you, and start blasting. Like, why do you have to round him up? You are chaos itself. You can destroy the entire dimension. Just boom. Existence is metaverse, void, and in-between spaces. So I was gonna say that's fair, but didn't you just say that the void is not existence? Rick, I would just like to be on a call with you once I could try and explain the setting of the Wanderer Chronicles. It seems so logical in my mind, and I can't explain it through short text messages. I want to try and explain it. Fair. I'm really bad at being able to get in a call, but can you try and make another long message? I mean, granted, your previous long one didn't necessarily clear it up to me either, so I don't know. You could also try and explain it to people in the backup, so maybe they can relay it to me after. But that's fair. All right, well, I've reached the end of the chat, it seems. Hello, meow. But this has been fun and brain-breaking, but I like that. I enjoy brain-breaking conversations. And I hope that my critiques weren't too much. I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed getting to read a longer piece in the Wanderer Chronicles and stuff like that. And I enjoyed getting to ask these bigger questions about it and stuff like that.